See what happens with Facebook. There we go. There we go. Starting to work. Starting to work. Okay. We're going to be able to do this. Holy smokes. That was crazy. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. All right, starting the stream.
Development of full artificial intelligence would spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
With a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1 0 1 1 1 0 1 1 6 3 2 9 7.
Media doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you, in earnest, into the digital darkness. If you guys are looking for Troubled Minds Radio, you're in the right place. I'm Michael Strange. I'm here with your co-host, Frank Pierce. And we would like to say hello to all of you who might also have troubled minds. Alright, you guys know the drill. We're recording this thing live, so if you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. Sorry about the late start. We had some actual technical difficulties, so we adapted and we overcame, and here we are. We're doing this anyway, so if you'd like to be part of the show, you guys know what to do. 702-957-1037. If you want to be on the show with Discord, click the link in the Facebook stream there, Discord, and we'll get you on. We'll talk about some things. We'll talk about all kinds of things. We'll talk about hopefully good, crazy things. You know, at least things that when you talk about them, people call you crazy. I think that's probably the best way for me to know that I'm talking about the right stuff. If people roll their eyes and go, "Man, you're nuts," yeah, I must be onto something, right? All right, so that's what we do. We talk about some of this objectionable material. Objectionable, I guess that would be the term. And that's what we do. So if you guys are interested in that, you know what to do. If you're new, perfect. Thanks for showing up. If you're not new,
Actually, we got a whole bunch of not news in here. Let me go through and say what's up to Kimberly, Ernie, Thomas, Tim, Kelly, Chris. Hey, what's up? Thanks for showing up, guys. So yeah, if you're new, we're gonna do some news and open topics and free for all type thing. And if you're not new, then you know what to do. So you're in the right place. And yeah, everything's working. We're back. We made it, and here we are. But before we get started and into some actual other things, see if I can now break it this time. Ladies and gentlemen, your co-host, Frank Pierce.
I'm Frank Pierce. We're back again, looking into all these strange topics, sinking through the muck and the mire of misinformation out there, trying to bring you some semblance of reality. So we're back again. Took a little time off, and we're enjoying this. Whenever you take a break away from the news cycle for a week, you always come back with a fresh perspective, a fresh insight into the bullshit, pardon my language, going on out there. So we've got a few stories about that tonight, and we got some few fun stories to go through, a few UFO videos, a couple of ghost stories, because we're nearing Halloween, a spooky time of year where all these things seem to happen. Yeah, that's my intro. Let's get into it. We got a lot to cover. Let's get right into it.
Let's do it. Okay, so being a show that broadcasts from Las Vegas, I think we would be a little bit remiss if we didn't mention the Vegas shooting. It's 1 year now. So it was October 1, 2017. So here we are, 1 year and 1 day, and we don't have any evidence of a motive, and it's all guesswork, and it seems like a whole lot of cover-up. So,
Yeah, it's interesting. There's so many conspiracy theories surrounding the whole thing. So many plausible explanations, alternate shooters in different buildings, like a Saudi prince running through the area with his bodyguards, arms deals, all this kind of stuff. And I know, being a conspiracy theory type show, we should be embracing these things, but I really wish the FBI or the government would come out and be transparent about these things. Say, no, there was no Saudi prince in the hotel at this time. No, there were no other reports of shootings. Give us some additional information and actually clear things up. But if anything, it's been the opposite. There's been radio silence all the way through. So I don't know what to think about it. It's confusing, really.
yeah. So since I guess we call these things anniversaries, I guess we're into the amount of the news, the news cycles and the mainstream media where they call tragedies anniversaries. So I don't really like to call it that. So if you guys have a better idea on what you want to call it, we'll call it that, because anniversary just doesn't sound right. But yeah, so that's the Vegas shooting. I'll catch up on your comments in a sec, guys. But what do you think that the Vegas thing? So notable to me, what changed is I was actually listening to the police scanner as this thing went down live. So one of the most notable things now is the Vegas Metropolitan Police Department has now completely redacted their entire police scanner, so you can't even listen to it anymore. So there's one thing that completely changed. Don't you think after something like this, we should peel back the onion instead of throw more layers of shroud? It's yeah. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. That again, I do remember people at the time reporting about it through their, because it was a big event. Lots of people were freaked out, and people reporting about what they had heard on that police scanner. And so they've encrypted the entire thing, or they've switched to a different channel, or they've done something else to prevent people from listening in.
Yeah, so there's a you can go to a particular, actually there's dozens of websites that have all of the public police scanners, and you just dial into a particular area and boom, you got it. You can listen to whatever's going on live. But not Las Vegas anymore. So after this this incident last year, they completely took it offline, so you can't even listen to it anymore. It's completely private, and of course they're going to cite, or they did cite, safety reasons, and being able to effectively do their job, etc. But it just seems like more government redaction, more government lack of transparency. That's what it seems like to me. Anyway, yeah. So what do you guys think? So that's one of the big things that changed. That definitely changed. I can confirm that changed. If you want to check it out, you guys know what to do. I can find you the site if you want to have a look. But that's yeah, it's unfortunate that that's how things have to happen, and we don't get information, and then they strip whatever tools we had to get the information we got previously. You see what I'm saying? Okay, anyway, so I'm rambling. But anyway, so it's the whatever not anniversary of the Vegas shooting yesterday. So if you guys want to talk about that, of course, that's open topics, so we can get into some of that. There's the Saudi prince, and there was the CEO of MGM that cashed out a bunch of his stock just before all this went down. There's all kinds of conspiracy stuff that's part of this. The Campos, the bodyguard that disappeared. Well, sorry, my dogs are freaking out. But yeah, anyway, so okay, I'm going to read some of these comments. Kimberly gets first. What's up? Thanks for showing up. Ernie says, good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is having a good night. Yep, so far so good, man. Thumbs up, Thomas. Thank you. Kimberly says, I shared the last live video to a few groups, and they said attachment unavailable. They've been trying to censor you on Facebook. Interesting, though I think we've seen some actual real-time censorship here with I think Chris's comments, who's actually a little ways down the chat here, says still alive here at 2:15 p.m. I think that was Chris that was getting censored in real time when he was talking about the Vatican. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me. So if you want a link, maybe go to the stream on Facebook and then link it that way. Or I'm sorry, on YouTube is what I mean to say, and then link it on Facebook. Maybe it'll work that way. But yes, thank you for sharing. We appreciate that, and it doesn't surprise me in the slightest that they're trying to censor us already. Tim says, yes, been looking forward to this. Thanks, man. Thanks, us too. Kelly says, good evening, everyone. Hello, Mike and Frank. What's up? What's up? Chris again, still alive, 2:15. George says, I live in Mesquite, Nevada. What's up, buddy? Speaking of Mesquite, Nevada, that's up where the shooter lived, right? Or somewhere right up around there. I think that's where his house was. So, yeah. And then Kelly says, okay, I have a couple pictures to share and some info to share. So I'm going to send them via Messenger at the Little Green Men. Sure, absolutely. Let's do that. And then George says, Kelly, I want them. Okay, we'll share them shortly so we can all take a look. But yeah, okay. So we're all caught up. We're all caught up. So Vegas shooting anniversary. We're not going to call it that. You got any better thing to call that, Frank, besides an anniversation? Yeah,
I think we call it a remembrance day or some kind of remembrance of the event. Because you're right. I think the term anniversary is a celebratory term that it doesn't quite fit, but remembering it perhaps is better, like a remembrance day or something like that.
Thank you. That's what we're going to call it. So it's the Remembrance Day yesterday, 1 year mark. So anyway, okay. So all right. So let's get into some of the news. How are we leading this off, Frank? I know you got some pretty good stuff here.
Yeah. Okay. Being the time of year where ghosts are coming out and people are reading into these things and playing with the occult, we got a good story here that is perhaps interesting to the show, which we'll get to that later. But nearly 30 children, this is from the Daily Mail, nearly 30 children suffer hysteria after playing with an Ouija board at a boarding school in Peru. So there's a video with this. We'll play it in a second, but these kids are getting together. I guess it's at a boarding school, so they're late at night, minimal supervision. And this girl brought a book of black magic and a Ouija board to school, and she started playing with it in the group, and then some really, really strange stuff starts happening. And so, yeah, why don't we just play this video, because this is pretty freaky.
Okay, here we go. From thedailymail.com, nearly 30 children suffer hysteria after playing with a Ouija board at a boarding school in Peru. Video, action. Watch this. There we go.
Por tu culpa, maldita normal, mi compañero. Por tu culpa, tú has traído todo este fuego.
Whoa.
Por tu culpa. A mi compañero Israel.
Okay, I feel like I could be narrating some of this, but I think you get the picture. It seems like this chick is possessed. Holy smokes. 20 more seconds and keep playing. Okay. Kids,
Yeah, so
don't play with the Ouija board.
Creepy. Yeah, definitely. Don't play with a Ouija board. So, some teachers came by. They saw these students lying on the ground, incoherent and suffering from these spasms, speaking in tongues. I don't know Spanish, so maybe not in tongues, but speaking strangely anyway. And then the parents came by and they rushed these children off to the church to help, I guess, allay their fears and calm them down. And the school even suspended the classes for a week afterwards. So what do you think about this? This is like okay, here's the backstory. We were thinking about things we could do on the show, fun things for this month of October with Halloween. We were talking about maybe we'll try a Ouija board, but I'm kind of reconsidering that now. What do you think?
Actually, I'll consider it, but you get the actual physical Ouija board. Let's do that. What do you think? Has anybody out there? Go ahead.
Yeah, there's some strange stories you hear about the Ouija board and people playing with it and then seeing all kinds of phenomenon occurring around them, or in this case, in other cases, people getting possessed and becoming hysteric, as well as latent things that seem to latch onto you for quite a time afterwards. That, you'll be in a perfectly normal situation, you'll use a Ouija board, and then all of a sudden, for weeks and months afterwards, you'll see these strange phenomenon, moving objects and lights and all sorts of creepy things afterwards. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything to this. Have anyone out there ever tried using one of these things and ever had any strange things happening? I've never done it myself personally. What about you?
Yeah, same. I have not been that deep into the occult. I did play Dungeons and Dragons when I was a wee lad, so I guess that's as close as I got to using a Ouija board. And if you ask the people in the 80s, it was probably the same thing, right? Yeah. the satanic panic of the 80s. A few more comments here. We'll catch up on if you guys think this Ouija board stuff is legit or whatever. Kimberly says memorial. Yes, that's the word we're looking for. Thank you. Appreciate that. So we're talking about that term comes up for the Vegas shooting. So it's a 1-year memorial yesterday, October 1. So we're October 2 now. So that's on the table if you guys want to talk about that. Thank you, Kimberly, for that. And then Chris says, every single time I post something, I swear I'm getting blocked. And you're one of the first guys that we noticed were actually getting blocked. So I wonder if it's you or I wonder if it's us. Are you bringing the bad juju? Was that you, Chris? Come on, man. We've got enough bad juju all by yourself. We don't need you bringing more. He says, I took screenshots and I'm going to send via messenger. Ian, what's up? Thanks for showing up, buddy. And then Chris says, let me know if you get those messages I sent you. I don't have it up, actually, because the live stream doesn't have the thing here. So if you, what's the best way? I guess I'll pull it up. I'll see if I can get it working. I'll take a look in a sec. And then Mark says, wow. Hey, what's up, Mark? Thanks for showing up. I think we got a sad face for the Ouija board action going here. And Ian says, that's scary stuff. Yeah, it is scary stuff. And then Mark says, the Ouija board never did that to me. I did summon demons on the Ouija board before, no lie. We want to hear about that. Can you give us a call? 702-957-1037, because it's that season, right? It's October, officially October. So scary stuff is good, right? Keeps us straight, keeps us inviting the bad weather and the scary trees at night and the lightning. Oh yeah, that lightning. Yeah. So So if you want to talk about it, Mark, we'd love to hear it, man. Hop on Discord or give us a call, and we'll talk about the summoning demons on the Ouija board, because I don't know about you, Frank, but that sounds pretty amazing to me. Yeah. All right. I don't know if you're still there.
That girl, I don't know what was happening to her. I don't know if it was just some kind of hysteria where, you freak yourself out to the point you just panic and you have a panic attack, or if there really was some kind of supernatural phenomenon going on there. But either way, there's so many stories surrounding the Ouija board, so many horrible stories, and you never hear this kind of thing about Monopoly, for example. You hear about people flipping a table, but that's what the Ouija board was originally marketed as, is a board game for kids, right? So it's really strange that this one thing, this vehicle, this tool to communicate with the afterlife or the paranormal seems to have taken off in such a way that nothing else really has before. I know they have ghost meters and EVP boxes and all this kind of stuff, but the Ouija board, everything seems to come back to it for some reason, and I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure how they designed it in the first place, but there's something there, something strange. We'll have to look into that.
They designed it right next to Monopoly, of course, and the game of life. Come on, man. Kimberly says, Chris says, sorry for the foul language. No problem, man. All right, I added foul. He said language. I hope you weren't speaking in tongues. Is that what you mean by language? And then Kimberly says, I used to play with the Ouija board when I was young with a friend. We had many bizarre experiences. We stopped using it when my friend's boyfriend flipped out. Said he saw a demon enter my body. This was 22 years ago. Never touched it since. That's interesting. Did you feel a demon possibly enter your body? Your body, right? He's talking about you. That's pretty cool. If you want to talk about that, we want to hear about it. 702-957-1037, or jump on Discord, and we'd love to talk about that. Ernie says, did it once when I was younger with some friends, never again. Apparently everybody's creeped out by this. This might be a real thing, huh? And then Chris says, if you look it up online, there's a name that pops up a lot. I can't remember what the name is, but a lot of people talk about the same demonic presence popping up. With the Ouija board. Interesting. Okay. I do not know. Do you know which demon we're talking about there, Frank?
I think I've heard of it. I'm drawing a blank on the name, but I believe I know what he's talking about. You know what? I think we'll have to do an entire show on the Ouija board, and we'll have to collate and collect all these strange video recordings of what happens, because there's a lot there.
Okay, that sounds fantastic. I love it. Kelly says, okay, I sent them. All right, I'll pull it up in a sec here. We'll give the mic to Frank, and I'll see if I can dig out some of these photos. Oh, that picture, the cloud formation that I was telling you guys about that looked like a UFO. I did dig that out, so I'll show that a little bit later. Don't let me forget. And then Kimberly says, the Ouija board would give us detailed premonitions that would come true later the same night. What? Okay. We're waiting. We want to talk about it. We want to hear about it. We want to hear about some of these things. Mark says, my brother and best friend witnessed me summon demons on the Ouija board when I was 15 years old. Okay, so you guys are amazing, and we want to hear some of this stuff. So don't make me beg. Somebody please call in and tell us what happened. And because, it's that season. And we want to warn children to not play with Ouija boards because terrible things happen. And then Kimberly says, 24 years ago. No problem. Perfect. And then no, didn't feel any entity moving into her. So that's odd. But he saw it, so that's also odd. And Cole says, "What's up?" And I say, "What's up, Cole? How you doing, buddy?" And then Ernie says, "There's a video of the Pope performing an exorcism in Vatican City." I haven't seen that, but oh wait, I think I did. This was a couple years ago, right? And there's an actual ghost like flying around above the audience or something like that. Remember seeing that one, Frank? Anyway, okay, maybe we could dig that up. But there we go. We're caught up. So there you go. We've never done Ouija boards ourselves, but it sounds like you guys have done quite a bit. So perfect. Let's talk about it. Or would you rather talk about something else? What do you think, Frank? How are we looking?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm tempted now. Like, I'm safe right now. I'm comfortable. It's a bit cold out. I got the fire going. Everything's fine. So I'm saying to myself right now, yeah, let's try the Ouija board out. Let's see what we can get. But then I'm thinking, maybe not. And then I'm thinking, the best way to do this would be go out in the woods, out in the country, up in the hills, find a good old country graveyard. I don't know if you've ever been to one of those, but, you find them where I am from place to place. Go out there at midnight, set up a few cameras, and aggressively, insultingly try to contact the people on these gravestones and see what happens. And I don't know if I'm brave enough to do that.
Yeah, the funny thing about that is I'm not particularly a religious or superstitious guy, but that let's say challenges me. I think that's a good way to put it. I'm not so sure I want to do that or rush off to do that immediately. So anyway, yeah, okay. So we got some more chatter here. Kimberly says the premonitions were just minor details, such as the names and astrological signs of the people we would meet that night at the club, and where we would meet them. So okay, kind of like how it starts out with Neo in the Matrix, follow the white rabbit type thing. That's what I envision. Okay, and then Chris says, my mom used to be a ghost hunter, and she has done some paranormal investigations. My family has a lot of paranormal things happen to them. My family too, oddly enough. I don't have any ghost hunters in my family, but we've got some females in the family that say that they see things, and they've always seen things since they were little kids. And you have to learn how to deal with it and etc. So interesting. I've never seen anything myself that way, so I kind of always given this the sideways eye, you know, like okay, well, where? Show me, I want to see. But I guess I don't have the gift. Cole says I've attempted to use one multiple, but to no avail, multiple times. The Ouija board, yeah, yeah. So I guess we're gonna have to do a show on just the Ouija board. So if you guys want to tell us about your accounts and you don't want to call in, just type up a little statement, email it to us at troubledmindsradio@gmail.com, and what we'll do is we'll go through some of those. We could read them when we do the Ouija board show. So play some videos, read some of the accounts that you guys have, and you know, it makes it a lot more fun because it's personal for you guys, and we get to get some exclusive stuff and get to make a whole show out of it. It sounds like fun to me. So yeah, there we go. Let's move on from the Ouija board unless somebody wants to call. So we're gonna move on. Ouija board's fun, but I think we need to reserve that for another show here. Actually, they're sending me stuff on Messenger here, so I'm gonna pull up a new thing, and Frank, you're gonna talk about it, and I'll see if I can dig this stuff up. But a couple more comments to catch up on, and then I'll look for that. So Tim says send a couple things via Messenger. Cool, I'll take a look. Chris says oh, I've seen things. Oh, I have, and seeing things freaks me out. Talking about the Ouija board, I'm pretty sure. And then Tim says, if you have time. Yep, I'll take a look. We're about to do it right now. And then Susie says, alien head. What's up, Susie? Thanks for showing up. Yeah, we're going to get to aliens. Right now we're on Ouija boards, but we're going to get to aliens. All right, what do you want to talk about, Frank? You pick one. I'm going to see if I can find these guys' messages.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot. Let's jump to an interesting story here, going back to space, but we'll work in some paranormal stuff. Let's open up the fake Mars dirt story because it's pretty interesting.
All right. Well, let's see. Fake.
Yeah. So I'll talk about this as you're pulling up the messenger. But basically, there is now a thriving business out there. If anyone's interested in this, or if anyone's looking for the future, there's these companies out there selling substitute or lunar dirt, so what you would collect from the surface of the moon, as well as substitute dirt that you would collect from the surface of Mars. Now, why is that interesting? Why do we care about dirt? Who cares about dirt? Well, the thing is, that's the resource that's going to be readily available on the moon and on Mars, is all the dirt and all the materials surrounding it. So we did a show way back about the constituents of the lunar regolith. So it has all these different minerals and materials and stuff that you can use to, I don't know, extract iron, extract oxygen from it even. But there's all sorts of things. And not only that, they use these dirt substitutes to work up, for example, the 3D printing of structures that they're planning on doing when they get to Mars. Having business now where they've basically mimicked the material and now they're selling it to people. So there's one good way to do it. They can take these materials and they can use them here on Earth to feed into their machines and feed into their printers to make buildings, extract iron, extract oxygen, extract CO2 from these materials. So it's pretty interesting that this is now a business, selling this stuff. So what does that say about the future? What does that say about going forward? Well, it seems that finally we have interest in this kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling about this. What do you think?
I think it sounds to me like we're selling Mars Play-Doh. Like, all right, guys, you tired of making Play-Doh on Earth? Check it out. We've got Mars Play-Doh for you. That's right, only 99 cents more than the Earth's Play-Doh. Oh, goodness.
So,
these are some...
Actually, here's the point, though. Here's the point, is you could take some of this right now. You could buy some of the stuff. You could, harken back to the days of old and go in your garage and start building up a machine that isolates this, moves all the pieces around and builds a building in your garage. And then you could sell that to NASA and they'd take it. Or you could devise some kind of system to isolate oxygen from the moon's surface, and you could sell that to NASA, and they would take it, and they'd probably pay you for it, or they'd shoot you in the back of the head. I don't know which one, but there's a business here. This is something that's actually starting to happen. So this is kind of like a prediction, a predicting sign that we're actually going to go to the moon soon, that we're actually going to go to Mars soon, that there's so much interest in this dirt substitute.
It is curious that they're just handing it out like that, because it's almost like they want help, right? It's like they're like, hey, let's crowdsource some stuff. Why don't you guys give us some stuff that we didn't think about yet? And here's the let's say the soil to start with. It's right. It seems like they're reaching out, right, for help, some kind of help. I don't know. It seems like that way to me. Okay, so we got some. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say definitely, because, if you're thinking about moving somewhere, if you think about farming in a certain location, the first thing you do is you get soil samples from the area and you test it to see what it has in it, what kind of nutrients you need to add to the soil, if it's feasible or not. And this is just the same thing, only on a solar scale, where now we're looking at these things and seeing what we can use it for, because it's, again, the most readily available thing out there.
Right. Okay. So Cole says, how are they fertilizing properties of said dirt? That's a good question. I'm not even sure they are. What's going on? Got weird stuff happening. Like I got a Ouija board here. Yeah, you're freaking me out. Tim says, are we back? It froze for a minute. I think we're back. See, I'm telling you, there's weird stuff happening. I got like this just random weird salty taste in my mouth. Like I'm not even eating anything. Like what's going on right now?
I don't know.
I know.
That doesn't sound good.
It doesn't sound good. Insert joke here, but I'm being serious. Like what the hell's going on? Okay, we got some pictures. Kelly sent some pictures, and we got some from Tim. Here we go. Let's see. Holy smokes, we got tons of stuff, and then Chris sent a photo as well. Oh, okay. Here we go. Let's pull up Chris's real quick. He's got pictures of him talking about leaving some comments on the stream here, and he's saying they're getting redacted. He's getting censored in real time. So let's take a look at this. And since we've got you guys here, you can actually see and see if what we're looking at is what we're actually seeing here, or if there's some kind of thing. Maybe it's him. I'm gonna blame Chris. Because I can right now. I'm going to blame Chris. But here we go. It's okay if I put these up, right, Chris? Or and everybody else that sent these things. I don't want to put stuff up because they'll have your names on them and whatnot. I know the stream does, but let me know. I'm going to put it up. So if that's a problem, I'll wait just a sec. But so it looks like we've got some messages here that were taken down. Didn't even make it to the stream. So here we go. Oh yeah, that didn't show up. Okay, so all right. Yeah, Chris says it's cool. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm gonna put these up. So you see this? Okay, look at the top one, Frank. It says so he left a comment that says apparently President Trump is sending Marylanders a message tomorrow on our cell phones. And if you scroll up in the chat, if everybody wants to scroll up, hold on, I'll put it on the screen right now. Here we go. That's what we're looking at. So that's Chris sent that in, and he clearly left a message there. And if you scroll up to that time in the chat when we first started, when Kelly first said good evening everyone, it's right there, but it's not in the stream itself. You guys want to scroll up and confirm. So yeah. So this is actual what would you call this, Frank? This is scientific evidence of real-time censorship.
This is mind control, right? Because, again, this is my opinion on mind control, is you don't have to convince someone of something. You don't have to say that green is blue and blue is green. You just have to slightly sway their opinion just a little bit and do that over and over and over again. And this is the kind of thing, as posting about Trump in Facebook, you'll get interest in that topic. Better censor. Better delete 1% of all messages that mention this guy, mention Trump, and messaging people. And you do that for long enough, and eventually people stop talking about it because they don't get a response from people they're chatting with. They don't get any interaction. Not because it's not an interesting topic, but because that topic is just deleted out of existence. And so you do that on a small enough scale for a long enough time, and change people's opinions.
Well, that's the point. That's the what's the 1984 term? The Ministry of Truth, right? That's what they do. I mean, they go full bore and redact everything and completely rewrite everything. But here we are, little tiny things. So here's the 2 messages that he posted that were literally not passed into the stream. You guys can scroll up and see for yourself. It's the first one he posted was, apparently President Trump is sending Marylanders a message tomorrow on our cell phones. Okay. And then the next one, he said, blocked again, LOL. And then he tried adding some numbers in there. President PR3S1 Dent plus Rump is sending Marylanders text messages tomorrow at 2:15. And both didn't show up in the stream. So they show up on his phone. It looks like he's sending them. They're going through fine, but they don't make it into the stream. And I did scroll up and confirmed. So hey, I'm sorry, Chris. It looks like it's you. It's not us, buddy. or maybe it's the combination. Maybe we make a terrible combination. But yeah, so we're actually getting like censored. Chris is getting censored anyway. How's that make you feel, Frank?
Yeah, think about it. Think about it in terms of other topics as well. Maybe you're out late at night and you have your cell phone with you and you take a video or a photo of a UFO flying through the sky and you're like, wow, I want to share that with my friends. And you post it up on your social media, and all of a sudden you're not seeing any response, or maybe you're seeing half the response you expected, or maybe even 75% of the response that you would expect. And just that little bit of, they've de-incentivized sharing this type of information, and you don't get the feedback. You don't get the friends talking to you about it. You don't get anything out of it. And so the next time you're out in the woods and you see something strange in the sky, maybe you won't take a picture of it. Maybe you'll just keep on walking. And I think that's what they're after.
Yeah, they don't want you. They don't want records of these things. It's a little bit crazy. Okay, so catching up on the comments here. What do you guys think? So this isn't the first time. Chris was the first one that actually pointed it out to us that we were getting censored in real time. So he's got proof right now. This is literal proof. I scrolled up. You guys can do it too, and it'll be here. This is a record. You can go back and look and compare, and he's getting blocked. So the second one here, I'll read it real quick. He says, every time I post something, I swear I'm getting blocked. And that didn't show up either. So, yeah, interesting. And Kimberly says that not only Maryland, but all of America. Yeah, that is true. That is what I've heard anyway. So, there we go. So it was supposed to happen a couple weeks ago too, on Thursday, like at 2 p.m. or something like that. And now it's like a FEMA thing, and they're calling it, of course, a Trump thing because, it's a an easy way to point fingers to the tinfoil hat community. But I think this was something that was happening, was going on for years now. So just FYI, more fake news. We'll see what happens when it rolls out, because it was supposed to happen and it did not. So there we go. Chris says, I just saw something from our local news station stating it. Yeah. And it's supposed to be a couple weeks ago. So Kelly says that happens to my comments as well. So, all right, there you go, guys. We're on somebody's radar somewhere. I don't know if it's keywords getting censored, but this is happening. This is a real thing. We got proof now. It's in the video. It's going to be on YouTube. So even if they take it down here, we got proof. We've got proof. We got two screenshots, and like a scroll up and verify the messages. So Cole says, since I don't want to exit this program to look it up, Can someone please explain this message as we're being sent? Oh, Cole, I think it's a test. It's some kind of test, some kind of FEMA test in case there's like a national emergency. So they're gonna. Some of you guys live in states. I know we have it in Nevada. I know in Arizona they have what's called a silver alert. I think is what it's called. It's like the Amber Alert system. It's just something similar. So instead of like a kidnapped minor, instead they're gonna roll out just a nationwide message type thing to all carriers that says Yellowstone's exploding. Here's what to expect. And I just went morbid right there, but you get the idea. So that they want to give you information on what to do to best or worst survive, I guess. I don't know. Did you hear about this one, Frank?
Yeah, I'd kind of love it if they co-opted it for something else, like if Trump just wanted to shitpost instead of on Twitter, but he just does it with the national alert system. I think that would be incredibly amusing and welcome, quite frankly. But no, yeah, I don't know what it's being used for.
Yeah, I mean, it's a FEMA thing, so tinfoil hat it up. We'll see. We'll see if it actually works. But it has been in the works for quite some time, so nobody panicked that like something's imminent. I think it's just a test. Like, this is a test of the emergency broadcast system. This is only a test. One of those things. So Kimberly says, I was put on a temporary restriction from posting in any Facebook groups for the past few days, recently without any explanation as to why, or what rule I may have violated. Interesting, don't you think? That Facebook and YouTube and all these places, they can just take it down. They don't have to give you a reason. They just take you down, and that's that. Les, what's up, Les? I think it's Les. He says block party. That's a good one. We're all blocked now on the same block party, and then Kimberly says the block just ended today. So Cole says thank you. You got it, buddy. And then Les says proofs in the pudding. Butterscotch be great. Yes, I love butterscotch. Okay, and then Chris says malarkey. It's a test on how they can hack our phones. I may turn mine off all day. I'll turn my phone and Apple Watch off. Apple Watch. Okay, yeah. I mean maybe. But you know what I mean? The NSA is doing that all day, every day. The Russians are doing it all day, every day. You have a Huawei phone that comes from China. They're doing it all day, every day. And probably everything else. Anyway. So yeah, there we go. And then Kimberly says, keep getting kicked off. And Tim says, I noticed they're doing weekly tests, not just monthly like past years. Yeah, it could be. We're about to find out. It's supposed to happen a couple weeks ago. It's going to happen now. Tomorrow or this week, I think. Thursday again. We'll see. We'll see. So nothing imminent as far as I'm aware of some kind of test. So there we go. All right. So thanks for the images, Chris. We're going to move on to some more here, unless Frank's got more to add. Come on, Frank. I'm talking too much, buddy. I'm talking way too much.
Let's keep going. Let's go back to a UFO or maybe a ghost type story. So this is from the dailystar.co.uk. Man installs CCTV after strange activity in house, and what it captures is horrifying. So this guy, I believe in England, he noticed strange activity in his house, and he wanted to get to the bottom of it. So he put a security camera, and it looks like his kitchen. There's a video here if you want to play it as I'm talking. And he gets some pretty bizarre footage. Now, again, let's take a step back. I'm kind of leaning, as we do more and more of the show, I'm leaning towards the idea that all these ghost sightings and these paranormal activity, as well as aliens and all this type of stuff, are perhaps the same phenomena. There's something linking them together. We don't have ghosts over here and then UFOs on this side. We have some kind of strange phenomena that we're interpreting as ghosts, perhaps, or UFOs, perhaps, or aliens. And perhaps they're all one and the same thing. And so you see this kind of video. I don't know if you pulled it up, but what do we see? We see this strange light kind of bouncing around the room, moving on its own. And one side would interpret this as a ghost. And if this were a little bit larger, if this were outside, it would be a UFO. Who knows what it is? But this kind of thing, you can't see it with your eyes. Again, you're only seeing it through cameras most of the time. So what does that mean? If it's only being picked up by this electromagnetic kind of surveillance? I don't know. Do you see this video? This is incredibly disturbing to think of this kind of thing floating around your kitchen.
I played some baggage handlers first. I thought it was that was the video. It wasn't the right video. Okay. I was like, what is this? Okay, but yeah. So we're watching. It looks like literally like a ghostly figure just walking through like a parking lot. It's definitely.
No, that's not the right one.
That's not the right one. Okay. See.
No.
See. I think
so
my
we got
things.
baggage handlers, which can be creepy enough.
back to
and
the
now we
baggage.
got ghosts in parking lots.
I'm
No,
gonna
that's
refresh
not the
the
right
page.
one. It's a tease. Yeah, refresh the page and play the top video at the very top.
All right, very top. Here we go. There were two really good ones. All right, here we go. So, okay, so this looks okay. Something's floating. It's like a teacup, right, in the kitchen, just kind of floating.
It's emitting light, though. You see that? It's emitting light from the bottom and from the
yeah.
top. So I don't know. Why don't you describe what you're saying?
Yeah. So okay. So it looks like a teacup of some sort. Just kind of gets up and starts floating around, and it is. Yeah. There's some kind of like a spotlight coming out of the cup itself. Weird. Okay. I've never seen anything quite like this. It looks a little Photoshoppy. What do you think? I think it looks maybe like it looked like a teacup at first, but now it looks like a ball of light.
Yeah, and again, so this kind of thing, if you saw a ball of light in the sky, it'd be a UFO. If you see it in your kitchen, well, that's a ghost. But I don't know if this is all the same type of phenomena. Maybe some kind of slip, dimensional slip, where we're seeing something being projected from somewhere else. But this kind of stuff, I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, I myself have never seen this type of phenomena, but it's amazing. So let me read some of this article here. At first, we thought it was a bug, but I noticed a beam shining from the bottom of the flying object. It looked like it was scanning for something. At one point, it shrank smaller, and the propeller it had at the top of the object disappears. So there is kind of a halo at the top. As soon as it shrinks smaller, it flies up to the ceiling, then shoots back down, and goes into the original form that it was. And then this person goes on to talk about strange dreams, people coming to pick him up, and his workplace wasn't on this earth, it was somewhere else. And him dreaming, this person who recorded it, of being in space, of being picked up and taken somewhere else.
It does kind of whisk away at the end there. Interesting.
Yeah. And you think about the mechanics of faking this anyway. You can see the ceiling, so it's not a string. You know, no one's hanging a string from the ceiling. There's obviously no one in the frame. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it looks. We got some comments here. Chris says it's an orb, and we've actually talked about some of that in. It was in what was that? Stardust Ranch. There were orbs kind of flying around the garage there, or was it outside in the barn, something like that? It does look kind of in that type of vein, where it's it's obviously an anomalous object. It's lit up. It's small, maybe like the size of a fist, and it floats around, glowing. So yeah, was it an actual teacup? Do we know that, Frank, or was that just my take? That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, it may have looked like one, but no, it wasn't. It was kind of this insubstantial object that disappeared when because again, it moved through the wall. It moved through some of the objects in the frame of the video. So it definitely wasn't a teacup and a fishing line.
Okay. And then, so Cole says that's not Photoshop. Yeah, I have to throw it out there, right? Yeah, we got to talk about how's it look. Does it look real? Does it look phony? So throw it out as the first possibility, and then try and move on past that, of course. And then Kelly says, was a ghost needing some coffee? Possibly. Do ghosts drink coffee? Maybe.
I know if I was a ghost, I'd definitely be drinking coffee.
Right.
Who knows?
No matter how you gotta get it, steal it, whatever. Cole says, when it took off in the ceiling, it looked like a stereotypical orb. Yeah, it did. A lot of the stuff that I've seen. It does, and then even with a motion blur. So yeah, and then Chris says that it kind of moves like a drone. Yeah, it did. Actually, that's a good point. It almost seems like it had some kind of gravitational pushback, right? You know what I mean? How it kind of like hovers and drops. You know what I mean, Frank? That's a good point, Chris. It did look like that, like it wasn't floating outside of gravity's influence, almost like it was some sort of drone or something similar. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It was obeying the way. It was. It looked like it was fixed, like gravity was down, and yeah, I understand that. So again, who knows? Who knows if this is a guy that looked pretty small for a drone, or if it was. I don't know about these things. The more and more I look into these things, and I look and I see the similarities and commonalities between these ghost stories, it's getting pretty easy for me, I think, to pick up fakes. And this, to me, looks real.
Yeah, looks pretty real. Looks pretty real. I agree. Okay. All right. So we got tons of stuff you guys are sending us. This is amazing. So one more time, if you guys have like an account that you want to go through and talk about this stuff, we'd love to make a show around it. So if you want to, like I said, if you want to get on the show and be a guest for a night and talk about these things, that's fantastic. We can do a show and add you to it and set it up and then get it done. Because again, this is why we did this show. This is why we do it this format, because we want to know some of the things that we would not otherwise know. Just research in a vacuum, Frank and I can come up with some pretty cool stuff, I think. But when we add you guys to the mix, look at all the stuff we've heard tonight. We've heard all kinds of Ouija board incidents, which is amazing. Like that would be fantastic to talk about for our upcoming Ouija board show, because we're going to do one. Now we're going to do one. You see, it triggered it. So that's the point, right? So it's kind of like a collaborative thing. So if you guys have information, photos like you're sending, if you want to get on and talk about it, or you don't, type something out and we'll read it we'll read it like we're you, and like kind of telling the account. So yeah, perfect. This stuff is fantastic. So this is what we want to do. This is why we're doing it. This is why we do these types of shows too, so we can kind of get some of this information off the cuff and see what you guys are interested in. So here we go. All right. I've probably said that 100 times, but I'll say it 100 more because I think it's important to reiterate, because a lot of folks don't record live. They don't do it this way because it's frankly a little bit of a pain in the butt. You have to be on the fly, and it's not so scripted. It's not so easy sometimes, but we think it's more rewarding long term for us and for you. So anyway, there we go. All right. So got some pictures here. Pull these up. A couple more comments, and then we got some ghost stories and some other stuff, some alien stuff we'll get to. So Chris says orbs usually sit still or move pretty quickly and fluently. Yeah, from what I've seen. But there's tons though. There's really small ones, larger ones, and they move differently. Chris says I have a lot of encounters I could share. When is this paranormal show going to take place? Hey man, we do it 3 times a week. So you tell us, man. If you got something particularly interesting, send us an email. troubledmindsradio@gmail.com, and we can go through it. And again, let's say it's orbs. What we could have done is actually included you in our Starlight Ranch show. It was a Stardust Ranch show. And so, you could have been on for 5 or 10 minutes, or we could have read your account about orbs, like that type of thing. So whatever you got, man, we're open to it. And then Kelly says, talk about it tonight, because that's what they do on Tuesday nights. Yeah, exactly. So with that said, did you see those photographs I dropped there, Frank? Those are Kelly's photos. So let's go back to the Vegas shooting for just a little bit. Kelly sent us some of these photos, and this was taken by. Hold on. Let me find this thing. Let me find these. You did see these, right, Frank?
Yep, I'm looking at them right now. And again, okay. This is, I don't think clear. Well, I've seen the first shot, but yeah, I don't know. So much mystery surrounding that, and I'm hesitant to speculate because people get upset.
You mean me? I get upset. Don't you dare say nobody died, Frank. Don't you dare.
Yeah, isn't that the thing, to go off in a brief tangent, is you start saying stuff like that, all of a sudden you're Alex Jones, and your YouTube's taken down, your Facebook's taken down. Now recently Alex Jones banned from PayPal, so he can't sell his super male vitality. Completely deplatformed for saying the wrong thing. They make it hard to talk about for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Kelly says I can call in and talk about it. Yeah, Do it, man. You know what to do. So I got your pictures up. I got the first Mandalay Bay one with the broken windows. So Colin, let's talk this over real quick. Don't mind my dog. He just had surgery and he's got a cone on his head. You guys can hear him down here wheezing. He's fine. He's just he's bad. But anyway, that's what that sound is. Nobody's dying. And then Chris has Troubled Minds at Gmail. No, it's troubledmindsradio@gmail. And that's how you get a hold of us. So yeah, so we've got these. I'm gonna put these pictures up. The first one from Kelly here. Come on, bro. Come on, buddy. You're okay. All right. So we got Mandalay Bay. He's got 2 pictures of the broken windows. If you guys recall, we had one Stephen Paddock on October 1st, 2017. Apparently break out one of these windows, which are hurricane proof, and shoot 600 people or so at a concert down below. So here we go. I'm going to put this up. Here we go. So here's Kelly's photo that he sent us. Okay, this was the original press photographs. And so what the official story is he broke one on one side and then was trying to get a good angle to shoot the fuel tank, which would be across the street in the airport, like some kind of jet fuel thing. He wanted to blow this thing up, I guess. So and then it didn't work. He took a couple shots and it didn't work, so he broke out another window, and then that's where he had a better angle to shoot the people down below. So here we go. All right, so here we go. So here's what the official story is, if everybody's with us so far, and then we're gonna bump over to Kelly's calling in right now, and I'll zoom in on this. But he says that a family member took this photograph when he was here in Vegas. So here we go. Here we go. We're gonna bring Kelly on. Action.
Good evening.
What's happening, man?
What's going on, Mike?
Oh, you know.
Frank?
You know. Can you hear him, Frank?
Hello?
Okay.
Yep, I can hear him this time.
I just want to get into this a little bit real quick. That Vegas shooting. Now, we heard of, just like Frank was saying, we heard all kinds of theories on it and stuff like that. Now, what the news and what the so-called FBI wanted to put out is that he was up on the, 20-something floor. He shot out windows, and then he shot down at the crowd. But when all this was happening, when everybody was first going through all this, I had my son-in-law he lives in Vegas, so he drives by there every morning. So I asked him to take a picture for me of the building because of the theories that they were saying that there was the windows removed, was a bunch of windows removed, and that I also wanted just to have a picture of the windows that so-called shot out. So the theory was that there was multiple shooters and that they removed the windows. Now to remove those windows, because they're strong enough to hold against wind and everything because weather. But in the first photo, they show that's what I sent to you guys, is what that was fed to us through mainstream media, which shows the 2 windows shot out. But if you look on the other picture that I sent to you guys, I don't know if you can zoom in or not, but my son-in-law, when he was on the freeway, he took a picture of it. And if you look in the same area where those so-called windows were shot out, there's nothing shot out. They're full windows there. But if you look over more, you'll see like 3 or 4 windows removed. Now, and then I guess the other room that he had, they try to say that he set up a gun mount and all that. Now, one man is not going to be doing all that. And the videos later on, I've seen also that they had videos of him, going from his car to the elevator, going from his car to the elevator. For me, I can't believe videos anymore because you guys seen the one where they have now where they can actually do live changing of voices, like that President Trump was talking or President Obama was talking, but someone was like they can, it's a new program where they can talk, they could like make his mouth move and say what they want to say. I don't know if you guys seen that program yet, but
I did.
Yeah, that's the only thing I got is that I wanted to show that and show that to everybody that the theory or the news that they're trying to push out through mainstream media is bogus.
Okay, so I'm going to correct you on this one because I do live here as well. I drive by this every single day. So if you look on this photograph, the building on the left side is the Delano. Okay, now behind it is Mandalay Bay. So this photograph was taken from the freeway. Okay, now when you drive past this on the freeway, this is I-15. Okay, and it looks like the truck there is probably heading north. The big rig with the blue and the white trailer is heading north, and it looks like the person taking this photograph was heading southbound. Now I can tell you the shooting didn't happen on this side, it was on the other side. So it was actually behind the Delano building right there on the left, and then on the opposite side is where the that concert was happening and where the actual shooting would take place. So I'm not sure what these marks are, and I don't recall ever seeing them there, but that doesn't mean they're not, because I did go down that weekend after it happened and take a look at the front side of it, where it actually went down. And those windows were broken out. They were boarded up at that point, but it was definitely something had gone down there. And it was all taped off, of course, and just like you'd expect, like a giant crime scene to be. You couldn't get too close, but from far away you could see. But you see what I'm saying, though? Because so where it's at, if you're facing behind you, that's where the Raiders Stadium is being built. So it's on the wrong side, is all.
Yeah. Okay, now my question is that then if that's it, so, but to me that looks like the same thing, because where the Mandalay Bay sign is at, above it, and you know how it goes around the corner, so do they have Mandalay Bay on all sides of it like that?
Yeah, it's on both sides. So it's like a big three-way thing. So it like a, I don't know, like a jack, or so it swings out to the right that you see, also to the left, and then there's one that goes out to the front. It's kind of like a three-way structure. And so it happened on the left side, on the opposite side though. But yeah, so what's going on with these marks? Curious, you got me. I haven't seen them, but again, like I said, it's impossible to say because they change things so fast and so quickly. But yeah.
Okay, all right. Also, I did send you guys a couple other pictures my wife had taken from a porch at my mom's house over in Nebraska. And I don't know if you guys seen that one, but it's like she took a picture of, like, she just thought it was just weird how the cloud was moving to, like, split the sky. You know how everybody's talking about now these square clouds. But if you look, so she zoomed in on the like where she's seen it, and it looks like a ship or UFO that's up in the cloud. So I sent both those pictures to you guys.
Yeah, I see it. So I've got it up. What do you guys think of this one? It looks like a like a light blue, translucent type Tic Tac, maybe, kind of that type of shape, right? And it's definitely it's not a cloud. It's not part of the cloud formation, as far as I can tell. That looks legit. And so she actually caught this thing moving, like saw it moving across the sky. Wow. Okay. That's a pretty legit picture, man. And so we got to zoom in. So I'm gonna zoom into the other portion there. So yeah, it kind of looks like maybe not quite a Tic Tac on the zoom in. It looks like a, see that one there, Frank? Kind of like a little barbell, maybe. It's definitely not part of the clouds. What do you think?
I don't know what that is. I don't know, but yeah, that's interesting that it appears in these square clouds, because again, you're right. We have been seeing reports of these square clouds appearing that seemingly have never appeared before. No one's ever recorded these things. And then, as well as that, these sightings of objects kind of lurking within them. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, definitely. We would qualify these as anomalous. do you just curious, Kelly? Do you report this stuff to MUFON or the UFO reporting database, anything like that, when you see them?
I do not. I do share it with other UFO pages like your guys', like yourselves, and I had a few comments on other ones that someone thought it was maybe she took a picture from the inside, and I was like, no, she was standing outside on the porch, because they thought, a couple of people thought it was a lens flare. But if you look at it, there's no, like with most cameras, you'll see they mostly go like round or like a half circle of looks like a, I don't know, red. That's what mine does when I have a picture of it, but it's cloudy, and she said that she kind of noticed something, so that's why she was taking pictures.
Okay, yeah. It also looks like if you scroll down to the bottom of that photo, it looks like it couldn't be taken from inside like a window. It's definitely standing outside.
Yeah.
So yeah. Good stuff, man. I wonder what the value would be to report this stuff. I did once or twice on some stuff that I saw, and I just don't know. It kind of disappears, and you never hear anything, and that's that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Definitely great photo, man.
Yeah.
Here's the other one I got too. Go ahead.
Just. Well, I was kind of thinking about maybe sharing that story that I had that what I seen with the what I would call the reptilian change.
Oh, right. You want to do that? You want to do that now, or do you want to do a show about that? Because we can literally make a whole show.
Yeah, we could do that either way. But I just wanted to talk. Well, yeah. Let me get a hold of you guys on the email, and then because I still have to get I got some stuff already put together. We're kind of talking about I want to try to go through history with throughout ancient societies when they were talking about different type alien or reptilian beings. So yeah, we can do that on a different show. Let me get a hold of you guys on that.
Yeah, tell you what. So it's you actually witnessed reptilians. That's right, right? That's correct.
Yeah. What I seen was Well, okay. You know what? Let's just go through it now because what I seen. Okay, when I was stationed in San Diego when I was in the military, and there was I made first class, and we had a first class petty officer. And what they have is they have but they have classes. You know what I mean? So once you make petty officer, you got to go through petty officer indoctrination. Tell you what's expected of you and whatnot. Well, it was I've worked with this lady, probably about, I was stationed there at this command was probably about, I was with there about 4 years. And I've dealt with her, I've worked with her a lot. She was a higher ranking than I was. And anyway, she was doing the petty officer indoctrination. But what's kind of strange and what I've seen through research and some of the stuff that I've been doing, videos or whatnot about what gives some of these creatures their ability, or how you could see that they are not human. So for me, it was just kind of like what I see on videos with the eyeballs. But when it happened in front of me the first time, because we're all there was probably about 10 of us in the room, and they had in there, she's going through video screens, just kind of like death by PowerPoint. And I seen her when she was walking around, and she wasn't really always the type of person that would look you directly in the eye all the time. She was one of those persons who would kind of they talk with you, and then they would look at the ground and then kind of move their head around a lot.
Okay.
So when she did that with me one time, she was looking at me and she was talking. I looked her directly in the eyes because that's what I do when I talk with somebody. That's just my personality. So when I seen it, her eyes, they folded over with it looked almost like a different eyelid, I would say. And then when I looked at it again, when she looked at me, so she was kind of a quick glance at me, and then when she looked at me again, they were full slit, both of her eyes. And when I seen that, I kind of sat up in my chair, and I kind of scooped back a little bit. And then when I did that, she kind of looked at me and then looked away and then walked away from me. And it kept away from me from the rest of the time that we were doing this, the meeting that we had. And it was 2 days, and yeah, she stayed away from me for a little bit. As well, she was not the only one that was in that squadron that did that. Was another higher-ranking petty chief, and he was a master chief. I'll just say it. And
okay, let me stop you real quick.
He was.
Can I stop you?
Yeah.
So on that first instance in that same class, did anybody else? Are you able to talk to anybody, or is it you're all from different parts and don't really see each other after the fact? Did anybody else say what the hell?
I actually because when a lot of the guys that I worked with was in my shop. They already know I'm a ufologist, and I talked to them about it we've done all kinds of stuff together. So when I came out, I told my shop, the couple of guys that were that are into UFOs and all that stuff. So when I told him, I was like, you know what? I told him about the senior chief, and I was like, dude. And I told them, and they were just kind of looking at me. A couple of guys were like, get out of here. But I told them I would put that on anything. You know what I mean? I would put that on my kid's life. That what I seen was real.
Right.
So when I went, they believed me. Some of them believed me, but, a couple other guys, they just kind of like took it as a grain of salt. But later on, they just thought that, they were, I was like, well, just watch her. Just notice how she doesn't look in your eyes all the time. And she kind of just, the way just her whole persona, just how she walks and talks around, you could just tell. So she wasn't, like I said, let me go into the other one where was another, he was a master chief. He came in, we're doing a bunch of meetings outside in the hangar bay. And I just happened to look at him, and his eyes did the exact same thing. They kind of like, it was a quick, so the eye movement when they were looking, he's kind of another one of those two that kind of like real twitchy, right? I don't know what it is about that when, in some videos I've seen, but his eyes did the exact same thing hers did.
Okay.
Now, go ahead.
No, I'm with you. I said okay.
Okay. Now, after that, I left that and I got stationed over in Maryland on the East Coast, where I just got out after that. So I've been out for about 2 months. But now, when I went to Maryland, I kind of just let all that go. I continue to do what I do, with the research. So when I got stationed in Maryland, and this just happened right before I left. I was talking to another guy. He was, he's the same rate as me, which is my type of job, my job title in the military. But
Okay.
when one morning, me and him were talking. I went to a shop, and I was the leading petty officer of the division. So I go into a lot of shops and see what they're doing, how their maintenance is going, just kind of like touching base with the leading petty officers of the shop. Well, I was in the morning, so I was talking to this young sailor, and I was standing here. We were talking, like I would say about not even a foot and a half from each other. We're drinking coffee, just bullshitting in the morning. And his eyes literally right in front of me. I mean, not even a side view or nothing. His eyes literally did the exact same shit. I looked at him, and it's weird because when the first time I seen it with the other two, right? I controlled my my feelings, my perception of, so I didn't want to scare them and let them know that I seen it, or maybe they could feel it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah, that makes
when
sense.
I seen it, when I was talking with this young man, and his eyes did the exact same shit, I kind of just looked at him, and then he looked away real quick, kind of looked down on the ground. He was like blinking his eyes real fast, and he came up and looked at me again, and then they were around again. So then after a while, I thought I just kept wanting to stand there and waiting to see if it happened again. So when that happened, he was like he took a step back from me, and I was like trying to crowd his space. And so I just kept talking with him, and lo and behold, right before I left again, it did it again. But it was like kind of a glance, so I don't know if he felt it happening or what, but he looked around, so I was like, all right, man, we'll see you later. I'll talk to you later. And, man, after I got out of that shop, I was convinced that these things, I don't know if they're like, I'm not saying they're all bad, but like from some of the research from the old stuff that I talked to you guys about, like the jinn, perhaps in the Arabian
Nights
religion, or like in the
right.
Yeah,
In
like
the story, yeah.
well, like the Arabic, you know what I mean, or like even in the Quran, they both of them talk about the jinn, where these reptilian creatures were all around, or through the time, and also in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, he also talked about it because he was an Atlantean, and in that book, or in the tablets, which the people have converted into English, where it talks about these creatures that killed human like kings, or let's say leaders of different how would I put it, like just leaders, like a king or of something like of of an area. Well, in there it specifically said that it killed humans and then like changed their shape and then ruled over men as the king that they killed or the leader that they killed. And they said, and off saying that they seen him in Atlantis, but I guess they had a battle and they used magic or what they called magic, or because he was actually alchemist, right? And so
that was
in the story they battled him. Yeah, they battled him, and then they kind of like pushed him back down where they were. But these things are still around. They move in the shadows, in the dark. Like when these people talk about they see ghosts or something, and it kind of reminds me of what the book of Thoth talks about. They says that they will be around in areas where the rites, like when they have when they sacrifice or whatnot, kind of like what the Aztecs did and the Mayans with the blood rituals and all that stuff. Which it's kind of weird because even down in South America, they Kukulkan and those ones, they were known as the flying serpent gods.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, hey, so I've got like at least a dozen questions, but I think we should save some of those for when we do a show on this. But how about just a couple here, if that's okay?
That's fine.
Okay, so the two people that you saw, were they of a particular race or particular skin color?
Yeah.
Okay,
all of them were they were all Caucasian.
Okay, so they were Caucasian. Okay, and so I was the question there made me think is if maybe there's a particular type of mask that they use, like a particular type that's easier or harder for them or whatever. Okay, so there's one, and then Tim wants to know, do they talk like normal humans?
Yeah, they were just like I said, they seem to be regular people, but what gives them away would be like, what's weird too is like when I see, if you look at these videos, like, or when you go online and YouTube and you see these videos where these guys like newscasters or something, they show like their eyes, they're doing the exact same thing where I'm talking about, or their tongue looks like their teeth are like change shape from square to like pointed, or they see a tongue sticking out. Okay. Now, what's weird about that, it seems to me like they might, I don't know if they have teeth problems or what, but a lot of those people, if you've seen videos, their teeth are pretty much jacked up. They're all crooked, and it was the same thing with all three of these people as well.
Okay, so there's one
creatures,
clue.
I would have to say.
Okay, something to keep an eye out for. Okay, so we'll I think it definitely deserves its own time here and its own show because we've got an actual eyewitness and actual military service, and it feels wrong to not say thank you for your service. But
thank you very much.
But you know what I mean, like so let's do this. Go ahead and if you want to, we can script something up from what you told us, or if you got more, go ahead and do that and send it over. You got the email, and that's probably the best way to do it. And then we can we'll do like probably a show on like reptilians or something, and then we'll include you in that, and we'll talk about an actual, hey, we have an actual eyewitness that saw some reptilians, and here's some of the things to look for, and then you can elaborate some more on that stuff. Right? Make sense?
Okay. Sounds great.
Fantastic. Thanks, Kelly. Hey, so these are some pictures that you sent in too. Before you go, I want to point out real quick that Chris said on this photograph that your wife took, the one outside, if you look in the middle of the photograph, down on the bottom, it looks like an alien's head, sort of, right? Like a half masked. So imagine like ET. So on the left side, you kind of have like an eyeball, and then like a long type of face and like a mouth down at the bottom. And it looks like maybe it has like in the sun there's like a big hair. Do you see that, Frank? See what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. That's interesting.
Yeah, there you go. So there you go. Somebody pointed that out. I didn't notice it, but there you go.
I didn't notice that either.
Pareidolia happening. All right. Thanks for the input there, Kelly. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Let me. I just want to say this too, that throughout my life is that I have also seen. I've always seen UFOs throughout my lifetime since growing up. So I don't know if that's any consolation of anything, but actually, when we were coming back from, that's when we got out of the Navy and we're coming in, we were driving all of our stuff to Nebraska to my mom's house because she wanted us to go over there and visit her for a while because, being out to sea for like 3 years, it was kind of hard to see family and stuff. So, yeah, that's where we did. We went to my mom's, stayed there for a while. But when we were on the freeway and we were coming in from Missouri I think it was Indiana into Missouri, there's a town called St. Joseph. I don't know if anybody, the listeners, know where I'm talking about. But I was on that freeway, and then I was going up on I believe it's a 70. I'm not too sure. But anyway, right before the connection of that road, of those two freeways, all day I was taking pictures of crazy-looking cloud formations, because we were in two different vehicles. My wife was behind me, and I was in the moving truck. So I happened to, just something tells me to look out my left side window. So when I looked out the window, I kind of looked up, and this was right before the turn off to switch to different freeways. And there was probably about 700 feet in the air. It was probably about the size of a Volkswagen Bug, but it was completely round. It was a UFO, but it wasn't it was a round shape. So I've been trying to look that up lately too about spherical shaped UFOs. And I looked at it, and as soon as I looked at it for about 3 seconds, that thing, I thought maybe it was a balloon or something, because it was kind of like over buildings. So I've ever seen those big balloons they put up and they tether them down. That's what I thought maybe at first it was. But I literally looked at it for 3 seconds, and that thing went from 700 feet to about 40,000 feet in less than, I don't know, before I even made a turn. So it was probably like less than 3 seconds. And when that happened, I was talking to my wife on the walkie-talkie. We were back and forth. I couldn't even pick up the walkie-talkie or even pull my camera out to even try to take a picture of it. And that's how fast that thing went.
Yeah, it happens fast, huh? It reminds me of some of the stuff that I saw on the History Channel where they talk about very similar things, where you got something hovering, just sitting there doing nothing. People look at it like, what the hell is this? And then boom, snap your fingers, it's gone. Yeah, man, that's good stuff. Yeah. It's good stuff. Yeah, so let's do it. We appreciate the input as always. Appreciate the photographs. We'll show them again real quick. I got mine up right now where I got the saucer, but yeah. So get that together and we'll do add it as part of our reptilian show. Thanks for calling in, man. Thanks for your service.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for listening. Have a great night, man.
Yeah. All right, you too.
Thanks. All right, there you go, guys. So if you want to be part of the show, you know what to do. Simple as that. So that was Kelly, and he included some pictures of some flying saucers, that anomalous stuff that his wife took, and then also some evidence, additional possible evidence on the Mandalay Bay shooting. So there we go. That's what it's all about. I'm going to put mine up here. This is the photograph that I took, and if you can see there, did you see this one, Frank? That kind of looks like the UFO right in the middle of the cloud formation.
Yeah,
that's the one that I took.
Really? Wow.
Do you see it? It's obvious,
yeah,
right?
It's pretty creepy. It's
obvious. It's like right there in the middle of that little thing. Like I said, it's kind of the double classic UFO type shape, right in the middle of the cloud. And these were the only clouds in the sky. Everything else, like all the way around it, there was nothing. So interesting. I think we talked about this last show or 2 shows ago, where we talked about things hiding in the clouds, right? So there you go. There's the photograph. I promised I'd bring it, and there it is. I took that one from the car down there, Boulder City, coming back into Vegas. So, okay. Anyway, so there we go. So we got some reptilians and whatever else. Go ahead. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah, that was a fascinating story about reptilians. And again, I think, as you also said, I have about 1 million questions I could ask about that, because I've seen actually a very similar thing occur with someone in a position of power, but we can save that for the next show. But yeah, and it's interesting. Yeah, we'll save that discussion for later, but that's some fascinating stuff, and it rings true with kind of the same things I've seen before.
There you go. So if you guys have seen stuff like this, we want to hear about it. The Ouija board stories are fantastic, so we're going to do a show about that. It's coming this month, guaranteed. So if you want to get those accounts to us or want to be part of the show, like we talked about with Kelly there, so if you want to be on and tell us about your Ouija board experience, we can do that. So you know what to do. If If you want to talk about tonight, 702-957-1037, or click the Discord link, or we're going to keep on trucking. We got, so this photograph there is the one I took, like I said, south of Vegas, coming into the city. And does anybody see it? Does everybody see it? I had to do a triple take, and then I went and took the photo and was like, yep, sure enough. That's one of them old style classic UFO type saucer shapes, kind of a double one even, but right there in the cloud formation. So anyway, what do you guys think? Interesting stuff, or is this just pareidolia? We know what NASA would tell us. Pareidolia, right? When I'm okay with that. Everything doesn't have to be aliens or UFOs. I'm just saying. But okay. Yeah, Kelly says he sees it. Yeah, it's right there, right? It's right in the middle. It's hard to miss this one. I thought it was a pretty good picture. Okay, so what else we got there, Frank? Let's keep on trucking.
Let's pull this one up too, because this is pretty interesting, talking about UFOs. Again, from the Daily Star, is UFO invisible to the naked eye, captured on camera by a stunned camper. So there's a couple of pictures here that we can pull up. You scroll down, I believe. Yep. Scroll down. So these group of people are out camping. They added, I was with 8 other people. None of us saw this thing with our naked eye, but I've showed the photo to several other people, and they were all there, they said, and they agreed that it's pretty weird. Again, so these people are out camping. They're taking pictures of their bonfire, it looks like. I don't know if you've seen these photos. And they didn't see anything. Nothing at all. So they're just having fun, drinking beers. But then they pull this thing up, and this is poignant to your point about the things hiding in the clouds. What did they see? Do you see what I'm seeing here?
Yeah. So we got the photographs. Looks like they're camping. There's a huge bonfire, and off in the sky, it appears to be some kind of. It's really, really large. Some kind of giant anomalous. It looks like a UFO. It looks like it's got maybe some kind of light or propulsion from the bottom there. Am I missing something? It looks like it's hard to make out exactly what the shape is, but it doesn't seem like it's spherical or like cigar shaped. It looks like you'd expect to see something out of like Independence Day or some kind of Hollywood movie. It kind of looks like it'd be that sort of craft, right? Maybe not that much detail, but that's what I see.
Yeah, and again, the same kind of phenomena we saw with the Tom DeLonge videos and some of the Chilean and Mexican videos is that you can take a picture, you can look at these things and you won't see anything with your naked eye. But as soon as you take a picture, either with infrared or I guess in this case a regular camera, all of a sudden you're seeing something that isn't there. So this goes back to this whole phenomena, this whole idea that maybe there are UFOs up there and they're hiding in the clouds, which is a good way to disguise themselves. Or maybe they do have some kind of cloaking technology, straight out of Star Trek, I don't know, that would prevent visible light from picking them up. And here again, yeah, this thing, it's huge, it's massive, it's in the sky, it looks like it has lights surrounding it. I don't know. I'm kind of worried now that to think that there's all this stuff going on around us, and just because our 5 senses aren't able to pick it up, we ignore it. Like imagine that. Imagine you're sitting in your room right now and you take a look around. Okay, I'm taking a look around. I don't see anything. Nothing around me.
The coast is clear.
But the only guarantee I have of that is my 5 senses, my eyes and my ears and my nose. But what if they're operating on some other level where we're not picking them up? And there could be, reaching my hand out, I'm not feeling anything, but there could be something right there. And, there's all sorts of ways that could occur. But think about that. Think about the fact that just because you see them doesn't mean they're not there. And that may sound a little crazy, but when you see these military videos and you see photos like this, there could be things there that we're just not seeing.
Yeah, for sure. This is again, this goes back to Tom DeLonge and Blink-182 and To the Stars, the stuff that was only on the infrared. So they couldn't see it with the naked eye, but it showed up on infrared camera. So this is a similar thing going on. So what is this? Is this interdimensional type stuff? Is this actual? I don't even know how to put it. I just don't know. What is it? What do you guys think? Is this something that's happening? Is this camera tricks? Is this Photoshop? Is it disinformation from the government? It could be tons of things, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be exactly what it looks like, because that would be obvious, right? But is it like interdimensional? I don't know. Why does the camera see it but the people don't? Did we just not notice it? I don't know. A couple more comments here.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get locked up in an asylum one day. I'm going to be locked up because I'm thinking to myself, maybe I need to buy one of these FLIR cameras and strap it to my head and walk around on a day-to-day basis with this thing, beamed into an eyepiece. So I'm seeing regular senses on one side and seeing some augmented senses on the other, because I don't know, I'm pretty freaked out by this kind of stuff, that there could be things out there that have existed the entire time, but we just can't see them. Imagine that, walking around with a big device strapped to your head, trying to look for things that aren't there.
Yeah, totally. Kelly says he's talking about the cloud formation. In my picture there, he says he sees it, and he says, I believe they make their craft look like clouds. We talked about that. It makes sense, at least that they could generate clouds to hide in and just kind of hang out in the cloud and collect data without causing any attention. I mean, that makes sense to me. If they can, interdimensional travel, or at least go faster than light to get here, or even, close to that speed, then of course they could, create some kind of cloud formation inside of an alien atmosphere, which would be Earth, of course. But that makes sense to you there, Frank?
Yeah, absolutely. You think about it. They've spent all this time and all this effort to make the stealth bomber that, you can't detect on radar, or that, has a minimal radar return, and so it's very difficult to find. But what if a simpler way, and perhaps something these extraterrestrial entities perhaps have discovered, is, just look like a cloud, float through the sky. I don't know off the top of my head if clouds have a similar radar return, if they're detectable in any way, but isn't that interesting? Just make yourself look like a cloud, float right on over China, take all the pictures you need, and then float away.
Yeah, or wherever your next destination would be. So Fred says, I ordered a FLIR for my cell phone from Leader Manufacturing. Should be here next week. It's going to be interesting when I go hunting up north at the end of the month. I'll take many pictures. Yeah, no, that would be sweet. Let us know if you get anything good, and let us know, because if it's something pretty cool, maybe we'll mount one up here in the house or something, out the window or whatever, and just let it roll. That would be kind of sweet. So we look forward to the feedback there and some of the pictures you might grab. So yeah, it is scary. Scary stuff. I'll tell you a story about the human census thing in a minute. You jog something in my memory there, Frank. Kelly says you can use night vision cameras as well to see them, and then he encourages you. He says, "Do it, Frank. Get the camera, man. Do it. Strap it on your head." I added that part. But it's okay. But like you said,
think about that.
What's that?
Let me jump in there real quick. Yeah, think about that. You could have an infrared camera on one eye, and you could have some kind of augmented hearing on the other eye, or on the other ear, to hear ultrasound and infrasound, and you'd be detecting more than what you would be able to normally. And I think we eventually have to go that way. There is a story, I don't know if you heard this a long time ago, but people implanting magnets in their fingers so they could move their hands around and sense tactically magnetic fields. So again, this kind of stuff that perhaps they know we don't have all these senses, but when we start augmenting ourselves, that's what we get.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know. I haven't seen them, so I haven't seen anything of this type of camera, so maybe that'll work. Maybe that's the way to find them. The thing I'm pissed off about a little bit is what's his name, Tom DeLonge, and To the Stars Academy. These guys, they've got government backing, and they've got a funding source, and so again, why don't we only have, or why do we only have the three examples? The money's spent, the tax money spent, the government has this data. It's releasing it is not. It's trivial at this point. Like, why are we gonna go through all the cat and mouse game that they're doing and raise more money when it's just disclosure. Just put the information out. It just again, we talked about this before, but it pisses me off. It seems like they're trolling us, or or they're trolling him, or it's a combination of the two. But anyway, so we're gonna follow up on this on what's his face Blink 182 guy, Tom DeLonge, and To the Stars. We're gonna watch him close. Did you see that they're just about to close the funding? Did you see that one, Frank? He put out a tweet or something.
Just about to take it all and move to Mexico. Yeah, I saw that.
yeah. So he said, "Quick, get your funding in, guys. The first round of funding closes on Tuesday," or something like that. It was that was pretty much the effect of his tweet. So it's like, okay, quick, get your money in, because what? You haven't proved anything to us. Like, I have no idea why people would send this guy money. So anyway, so there's that. But okay, so the thing about things being around us that we may not be able to see. A long time ago, I had a conversation with somebody, and we were talking about God, and that people believe it, people don't believe it, whatever. It was more of like kind of like an internet or intellectual type argument. It wasn't like we were trying to prove or disprove each other or anything like that. It was just we were just kind of spitballing, And one of the things that I thought of and came up to me, I was like, okay, well, here's the thing. I think as human beings, I don't think we're qualified to even be able to make decisions that large, because you look at our vision, just our vision alone, we see like 1/10 of the entire light scale. We don't see infrared, we don't see any of this stuff. The microwaves, whatever. Like, there's tons and tons of things that we can't even process as humans, right? Without these cameras and these other things. So, maybe 1,000 years down the line, or a few thousand, we can talk and maybe have a real conversation. But we're working with almost no information. It's almost like anthropologists. They put together this huge sweeping narrative about the dawn of man and how we got there and all this other stuff, but they're literally working with 1/10 of 1% of all the data, right? Or less, even probably less than that. So it's like I don't know. It's just you don't have enough information to make a determination, I think, in a lot of these cases. It makes sense. Just seems
absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think again, things. That's how we get by, is we make guesses and we make leaps in logic, and we make all these assumptions. And sometimes that's good for inventing things and whatnot, but sometimes it's bad because we ignore what's around us. And I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, in a lot of cases anyway. Okay, so Kelly says he's going to get one. Let's do it. Let's be the Flair Club. Tim says maybe that's why Gray's eyes are so big and black. Oh, you know what? Maybe. That's an interesting thought. I wonder what do you think they're limited to just like human type vision? Or do you think they can actually see like X-rays and ultraviolet and gamma and all the other stuff? I would think, huh?
I think if people refer to these things as robots or drones or kind of mechanized beings, they're not necessarily alive, but they're not necessarily dead either. And if you're designing something like that, yeah, you're definitely including extra senses beyond the senses that we have now.
You would think. Yeah, we need some of our eyewitnesses. They've seen some grays. We can talk about that. Okay, so we got some more news to jump into here. Tons of stuff. We pulled up all kinds of information. There was one I really wanted to talk about. Frank's gonna love this one. All right, let's do this one, Frank. Let's do that Star Wars one. What do you think?
Yeah, pull it up.
All right. So I found this one, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious, because you know how we love the all the reporting on Russia. Well, if anybody likes Star Wars, this is reported by the Hollywood Reporter.com, and here's the headline: Star Wars: The Last Jedi, negative buzz amplified by Russian trolls. Study finds. So it's not enough that Russia interfered in the election. It's not enough that they caused a hole in the International Space Station. It's not enough that I don't know, what have you.
You can literally pile dozens and dozens and dozens. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just stubbed my toe. I think Russia did it. We better go after them.
Right. Okay, now here's my thought. When I saw this, I was like, okay, check this out. If they literally have come into Western life in every facet, and they're manipulating everything we do on a daily basis, don't you think it's time for war? Like, I don't want to sound like Lindsey Graham or one of these, rhino Republicans that are like, oh, war with Russia. But for crying out loud, if it literally comes down to this, to where we're talking about, now we're blaming the crappy movie, people calling it a crappy movie, one man's opinion, that's my opinion. If they're calling it that, they're calling a spade, but now that is amplified by the Russian trolls. Did you see this one, Frank? Did you see this movie? I know you're not really a big Star Wars fan, right? But you saw this one.
No, I didn't see it. I gave up early on in this whole franchise because they're terrible. Quite frankly, the first original 3 were great. Afterwards, it went downhill, and it just kept going downhill. And to blame Russia for a terrible movie, come on.
It was terrible too.
Terrible.
It was pretty bad. It was almost like the director, to me, again, one man's opinion here. To me, it seemed like the director, Rian Johnson, hadn't watched the previous, 6 or 7 movies. It's like but like, hey man, you get Chewbacca and you get Luke Skywalker, go to town. It's like, all right, sweet, and it doesn't make sense. Okay, so anyway, there you go. What do you guys think? Russia? Is Russia responsible for the crappy movie that Disney made? or more importantly, what is this? What kind of damage control? Are they actually trying to trick us into thinking it was a good movie by telling us the Russians told us it was bad? You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't even get the purpose of this article here. You follow me, Frank?
Yeah, so I was reading Reddit earlier today, which is a bad habit that I've really got to get out of. And there was a post on there about this Venom movie that's coming out just recently. So another one of these superhero franchise movies. And apparently there was some advanced screenings of this movie, and people thought it was horrible or bland or boring. And, so they start posting their reviews in these Reddit forums dedicated to movies. And the moderators there would just remove these comments. Delete, 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 delete. And I think it's the same kind of thing, is that we're thinking that these are just regular people out there. Regular guy lives down the street, reviews movies. But no, that's not the way it works anymore. These things are all controlled by central organizations. And if you say that you don't like this thing, well, maybe your friend hears that comment and they don't go see the movie as a result. So the way I think it is nowadays is they just control all these things. We can't have criticism over The Last Jedi or this new Venom movie, because if there is criticism out there, well, they're not going to make money. So they just take anything they can, Russia, or they don't even need a reason anymore. They just delete comments, and you never know it's bad, right? That's the way it works. There's no honesty anymore. There's no realism. If someone leaves a bad review, they delete it. And if someone leaves a good review, they promote it to the top, and that's all there is to it.
There you go. Welcome to the dystopia we've created to sell movie tickets to bad movies. Okay, sorry if you guys like this movie, but I thought it was terrible. Okay, so anyway, I thought it was more important because they want to blame the Russians. So the Russian trolls study finds something. Well, let's see. So this guy suggested. Hold on. He wrote a whole paper that analyzes in depth the negative online reaction, which is split into 3 different camps: those with a political agenda, trolls, and what Bay calls real fantagonists. So, so we've got political people, really, with a Star Wars movie, trolls, and then real fans. Okay, whatever. I'm over this. Okay, yeah. Anything else? What else you got there, Frank?
Yeah, just another point on this. Again, when they were having that big Twitter hubbub about Russian interference, I actually went and I read that report that they presented to the Senate Intelligence Committee about this whole Russian interference on Twitter. And, you use the word scientific and you think that means real science. But no. They just throw that word in there because how they determine these are Russian trolls is a single Cyrillic character in their name or an IP originating from Eastern Europe. So there was no verification that these people were Russian. I think we've talked about this before, but some kid on the internet thinks it's cool to put a Cyrillic character in their name, and all of a sudden they're a Russian troll. Like, you could change your name now on Facebook and just include a single non-English character, so some kind of Cyrillic fancy-looking thing, and now you're a Russian troll, and that's all they need. So this is largely bullshit, and people just keep eating it up. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like I said, either if they've infiltrated every single little nook of our civilization in the West, it's time to do something right. Like, where are these gigantic sanctions? Like, what's happening? Like, nothing. The press just likes to complain. Or use it to, to go after the president or whatever, like what have you. It's just, it's annoying. Anyway, so James has watched the 80s film They Live. I've never seen that one. You seen that one, Frank? I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, so They Live is actually a great film. I think it's one of the better films. I think you may have heard of it, but basically this regular guy, he's out about in his business, and he finds a pair of, I believe it was sunglasses, and he puts them on, and all of a sudden he's seeing things that aren't there, that he's not normally detecting with his regular senses. So he puts these glasses on, and he sees a businessman. And without the glasses, he would just look like a regular businessman, but he puts them on, and he sees he's actually some kind of horrifying creature. And these things are all around us, and because we don't have the right senses to perceive them, we don't notice that they're there until he puts these glasses on, of course. It's a great movie.
Okay, that sounds like one that I should watch. All right, I'll check that out. Thanks, James, for the suggestion there. And thanks, Frank, for the synopsis. Look at that, on the spot. Okay, so here's another one I want to look at, too. We've talked about quite a bit NASA going to the moon, right? And saying that it's step one. It's, we have to go to the moon before we go to Mars because otherwise we're wasting everybody's time and all this other stuff. Well, did you see what just happened, Frank? Did you see?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, we're about to talk about it. So this is reported by BigThink.com, and NASA has actually unveiled plans to go to the moon, and not just the moon. It's like a 10 to 20 year progressive thing, where they want to go to the moon first, and then they want to go to Mars, including creating some sort of system for privatizing space. So this article here says NASA's new plan will span the next 10 to 20 years. First the moon and things around the moon, then Mars. Boy, it almost sounds like they talked to you, Frank. Did you get a hold of NASA finally and set them straight?
Yeah, maybe. Again, this is all obvious stuff. This is stuff that other people have talked about for years now, that, science fiction authors and whatever else have talked about for so long, and now they're releasing these plans. I'd like to see them. That's the problem with these plans, isn't it? Is that they're all grand and they sound amazing. And even here, they say in a press release, there's a more in-depth document. But I want to see the plans. Like, I want to see, okay, what's the name of the contractor you're going to use to put together this circuit board that will do this particular thing? What's the local source your aluminum from to build this particular object? We're never going to see any of that, right? We're never going to get an inkling of that. There's no detail here. They just release a bunch of crap, and then, a month from now we'll forget about it.
Well, they're hoping we'll forget about it. But it's on this stream now. It's on YouTube. We've captured this. You can't make us forget. Sorry, buddy. Nice try, Frank. I'm not forgetting. Here we go. So real quick, they've got 5 strategic goals. So number 1, transition U.S. human spaceflight activities in low Earth orbit to commercial operations that support NASA and the needs of an emerging private sector market. So it looks like they're going to work with SpaceX and some of these companies in the private sector, which is pretty amazing, I think. They're admitting they need help, I guess is what that is. 2, lead the emplacement of capabilities that support lunar surface operations and facilitate missions beyond cislunar space. And then 3, foster scientific discovery and characterization of lunar resources through a series of robotic missions. This reads like a like a I don't know, like you're in 4th grade reading some boring synopsis.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is we could solve world hunger, end war, cure cancer. That these are great goals, sure, but tell me how you're going to do them.
Yeah, that's true. Again, so we'll look at the in-depth document and report back and see if there's anything to see there. But so as of right now, here's the 4 and 5 of their 5 strategic goals. So number 4, return U.S. astronauts to the surface of the moon for a sustained campaign of exploration and use. And number 5, demonstrate the capabilities required for human missions to Mars. I can't even speak, and other destinations. It does sound like a bad resume. That's kind of what it sounds like. Okay, and then coming from Kelly, he says, I don't believe the government puts out. I mean, they claim the Russians did this and they did that, or they say every killer disease comes from Africa. Come on, yeah. Cheers. That's why. Again, one of the reasons why we do the show, because a lot of this just does not make any kind of sense. So. Yeah, anyway, there we go. So NASA's got a big 5-part plan that's going to the moon, then Mars, and then everything else. So here we come, Frank. Here we come. All right. Anything else you want to cover here?
It's interesting. Sorry to jump in there and interrupt you. One of the primary goals of this is to privatize and to get industry to eventually fund all of it. So what they're really saying is that NASA is outdated, NASA is useless, and that industry is the way to go. So this reeks of a bunch of has-beens trying to kind of rein in control of something they have no control over, they have no input into, and they just want to be a part of it. But really what SpaceX should do and what Blue Origin, which is the Amazon rocket company, should do is just cut NASA out entirely, cut the government out entirely. And now I've just been put on a list somewhere, but that's what they got to do because NASA is completely useless.
Well, I mean, they sure know how to spend money and get nothing done. So, that's standard government stuff. But, I mean, Fred says, I'll believe it when I see it. What's up, Fred? If I didn't say what's up. I think I did, but I don't remember. What's up, Fred? And then Kelly says it kind of looks like the on-off the Mars movie called The Martian. Oh, yeah. With Matt Damon. Matt Damon. Yeah. I mean... Again, we'll see. I think Fred summed it up. I'll believe it when I see it. But they're trying to include themselves in plans that they're not making, and funds they don't have. So, whatever. Okay. I thought it was interesting that they even talked about it. But you're right. It seems like they're handing it off. They're saying, okay, these guys are doing it, but we're going to make the outline of how this is going to happen. Those other guys, they can spend the money and do the heavy lifting, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, okay. Anything else you want to hit here, Frank? We got about 10 minutes or so before we cut this off.
Yeah. There's a good story, kind of a follow-up to that. So it's on fastcompany.com, reporting the story inside the epic debate on rethinking our 50-year-old outer space treaty. So there's a video here. If we can just listen to that, I think it's a couple minutes long, but this is terrifying. And think about what this means for industry. Think about what this means for space exploration. If the UN, a bunch of people that have no say in anything, have no technical expertise, a bunch of bureaucrats sitting around who don't know upside from down, think about what's going to happen when they start making laws on space. Anyway, let's play this video. You can cut it off early if you want, but there's I believe it's a couple minutes long if you scroll down a little bit.
All right. Action. Let's see what this is all about.
1957, the launch of Sputnik 1 ignited the space age. Soon after, the United Nations General Assembly established the Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space, along with a small expert unit to support the committee. As the benefits of space for humankind became more and more evident, so did the need to ensure cooperation and the peaceful uses of outer space. In 1968, the international community came together in Vienna for the first United Nations Conference on the Exploration and Peaceful Uses of Outer Space, UNISpace. The conference reviewed space activity and called for increased international cooperation, with particular regard to the benefits of space for developing countries. Fast forward to 1982, when the world gathered for Unispace 2 to address the importance of maintaining space for peaceful purposes and to develop initiatives for helping developing nations improve their access to space science, technology, and applications. In 1999, the Unispace 3 conference resulted in the Vienna Declaration on Space and Human Development to address new challenges in outer space activities.
Okay, here we go. So the Vienna, what do you say? Vienna something. There's some kind of agreement.
So basically, let me summarize the whole thing here, is they are planning to divvy up space, and they can't even go there, right? So do you think Elon Musk has a seat at this table for these discussions? Do you think Jeff Bezos for Blue Origin has a seat at the table to contribute to these discussions? Of course not. These people are getting together, and they're looking at what's going on in the world, and they're saying, shit, we have industry going up. We have foreign governments with the Japanese rover landing on asteroids. We have all these things going on, and we can't control them. We can't do anything to stop them. And so they're having this conference again, and that's what they're going to do, is they're going to divvy up space. They're going to rein in control. And again, these people are idiots. Like, I don't know if you've ever watched C-SPAN or any of these hearings on these type of thing. These people are fucking idiots. They have no understanding what's going on. They don't know anything. There's the famous clip, I don't know if anyone's seen it, of several years ago, one of these congressmen thinking that an island was going to tip over if they landed too many troops on it. So these people are elected because they can talk good and they can, raise donations, but they have no idea what's going on. They don't know how to build a rocket. They don't know how to mine an asteroid. They don't know how to do any of this. And these people are reigning in control with these conferences going on to decide who gets to go to space, how often they can go to space, who owns the asteroids, who can land on the moon. They're just shutting everything down. Like, let's say I invented a rocket engine tomorrow and I could lift off and go see the moon. After this kind of discussion finishes, I don't think they'd even let me. Or I think they would let me if I paid them a bunch of money and I promised I wouldn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's a ploy to gain control of a resource that they can't lay their fingers on at this moment.
Because they're way too inept. Look at this paragraph here. So it says, so the 50-year-old treaty definitely needs some updating. While speaking as a U.S. representative from Oklahoma, Jim Bridenstine said the treaty was mired in Cold War thought, and now almost every nation on Earth has some sort of presence in space. And we have to be concerned with threats like jamming, dazzling, spoofing, and hacking satellite constellations. And then, this is the best part. Now, Bridenstine was eventually tapped by Trump to head NASA, despite his lack of scientific experience. There you go. I'm not sure what's better or worse, right? Like an actual scientist there that's can't even face down some people asking some questions and give a coherent answer, or somebody who has no background in this whatsoever. You figure there's going to be somebody qualified to be able to do both, right? I just don't understand.
Again, think about what this means. Like, you and I, we get together, we make a rocket company.
Yeah.
Do you really think they're going to let us move forward with that? Do you really think we'll get the permits for a launch site and we'll get the permissions to go up there, especially with their military satellites in orbit? They can't send anyone up there to check on us. They can't there's no military police in space to make sure we're not going too close to their satellites. They can't shoot us down if we're up there because, again, they just can't do that. No, of course not. So our burgeoning rocket company is now shut down completely because they said so.
Right, because they have a treaty that you have to abide by. You didn't get your permit, your space permit. You didn't update your sticker on your rocket. Yeah, exactly. A few more comments here. Tim says, why can't the world be one world, not separate countries, always and more? Imagine if the world came together. The possibilities are endless. Oh, you know what? What's that? Imagine there's no heaven.
Some bad John Lennon. And then Kelly agrees, right? And Fred says, now that's funny. Yeah, exactly. Tell that to China. Tell that to Russia. Tell that to the warlords that run the United States. No, not going to happen. Kelly says, I just think if 7 billion people thought and moved in the same direction of peace and space exploration, we would be there. It would be done. Like we would be live streaming from Mars. You know, I mean, the technology's there. It's about the will and about the government not getting in the way. And I think you're right there, Frank. This is exactly the government saying, wait, you can't do this without us. We have to give you permission. You're not allowed. I think that's exactly what these type of thoughts are. They can't allow it. I mean, they can't do it themselves because they're inept. But you know, when somebody else actually says, "Hey, well, watch me hold my beer," they're like, "Well, wait a minute. There's some things to consider." You know, like I think you're right. It's them kind of chopping it down. Kelly also says, my post didn't go through. I asked if you guys saw the new Mars rover they rolled out in New York. It's huge. I did. I saw Jimmy Kimmel. Did you see that? Or Stephen Colbert, one of those clowns? You see that one, Frank? It was huge. It was like the size of like a monster truck. They were driving around.
I try not to watch the propaganda that is the late night shows.
Yeah, well, that's what it was. I just saw a quick clip. I didn't see the whole thing, but yeah, we did. And then, Tim says, did I miss Kelly and I's stories? I was in and out briefly. Yes, you missed Kelly's. Let me see. We got sidetracked. We'll do yours next time. We're running out of time here, but let me make sure I still got it. Make sure everything is good. I think we're okay. I think it's here. Oh, yes. You know what? I wasn't sure what to make of this because there's a video. So we'll all parts this one, and then we'll put yours up next time. Okay, Tim. He's got a video here, and then he's got some photographs. So I think this is going to be some getting into a little bit. So yeah. So we'll do this one next time. We'll add it to the next Kick It show, which will be Tuesday. So yes, thank you for the input there, Tim. Sorry we missed it. If you go back and listen, you'll see we got sidetracked. But yeah. We did get it, and we will get to it. So thank you for all the information, guys. All right. Anything else there, Frank? We're winding down. Or anything else? Anybody want to call in real quick? We got a couple minutes, and we're gonna kill this. So take it away, Frank.
Yeah, let's maybe we do another quick one here. What do we have? Actually, you know what? We can save this stuff for later. I think we'll call it for today. Yeah, I don't know if there's an interest in a Ouija board show. It seems there is. We'll do that. Again, we'll keep covering these UFO topics. We'll keep looking into the political situation surrounding space. Again, I think there's a space race going on. It's an exciting time to live. And we'll keep looking at all these UFO and all. But, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the show, and let us know how we can improve, as always. And yeah, we're having fun doing it.
All right. No, all right. Oh, that's the wrong outro. Let's go with the good one. There we go. All right, so you guys know what to do. If you want to help us out, go to all the things. Go to troubleminds.org. Thumbs ups, comments, rate us on iTunes and all that. That helps. So we appreciate all you guys sticking in. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate the input, the pictures, the commentary. All this stuff is great. You guys are amazing. And again, the reason why we do this show. So yeah, there we go. Frank already said it. Anything else, Frank?
Nope. That's it.
Frank's like, kill this. Would you just kill this already? All right. Everybody says good night. Great show. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. Find us on Thursday. Thursday we'll be there, so we'll have a good show for you. And thanks for sticking with us. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. I'm here with your co-host, Frank Pierce. Thank you for listening, and from our Troubled Minds to yours. You guys have a great night.